Talking About Rock, a special episode, Kiss, the New Era. Joining us today, media marketing expert, Michael Brandvold. Okay, we now have back with us Michael Brandvold. He's a professional marketing consultant who developed the Kiss Online website and the first VIP program. Michael, thanks for joining us again.
Thanks for having me back.
So, with the announcement of the Kiss, the New Era avatars on December 2nd at the final show at Madison Square Garden, the band seemed to embrace the future here.
Did they announce something?
Well, I think the whole internet is buzzing.
I was going to say, the internet's been very quiet. Did something change in the world of Kiss?
I think they almost broke the internet within the last probably week or so. I know they've been slamming your sites with.
Oh, it's been crazy. I've never seen anything like this. I mean, I was telling the co-hosts on Three Sides of the Coin, this is probably the biggest change, the biggest event any of us have ever experienced in history.
Oh, definitely.
And you know, and that includes original band members leaving and returning, and makeup coming off and makeup going back on. Yeah, this is incredible.
Right, because I remember that was the big deal back in the day with the makeup off, right? On MTV, that was like the big world announcement. You were going to see him without makeup. But yeah, I think that pales in comparison to what's happening with this.
Most definitely. I mean, here's my whole take on all of this. And this is just me, my personal take on it, because I have no more knowledge on this than any of us do. We all know the same amount of information based on what they've released on videos and articles that have been written. I think it's too early to honestly pass any judgment. Nothing's happened. They've said this,
right?
But we've only seen a two-dimensional short video demo. That's it.
Right.
And that doesn't give us any real insight to how this is going to be used, how it could be used, what the plans are. It's just too soon to like write it off and go, it's a failure, it's terrible, it sucks. Right. Which, as we know, the internet is filled with all those expert fans out there going, well, it's already a failure. And I'm like, how could it be a failure? It hasn't even started.
You have not even seen what's about to begin. Well, let's start at the beginning here, because people are speculating from the beginning, right? How are they going to continue? They're not going to end this. What's going to happen? Is it going to be some type of franchisee type of thing where you have different groups in different cities? Or are they going to have, replacement people, or, their sons take up the mantles? There was all kinds of speculation on the internet. What was going to happen? What were they going to kind of do, going forward? And now we've seen like a sneak peek, a little bit of that, to see what's going to happen, going forward. But like you said, it's just a very small sneak peek.
And the other thing that we've got to keep in mind is, yes, they announced this avatars, but I don't believe for a second that's the only thing that's going to happen.
Right.
Could there still be official tribute bands in various cities around the world? It could still happen simultaneously.
True.
Could there be Kiss 2.0? Sure, while the avatars are happening. Could box sets and off the soundboards continue to be released? Of course. So I think one of the things people have to get out of their mind is this is the only thing that Kiss is going to be doing. No, Kiss can do more than one thing at a time.
Right. And they said that you're going to see us in all kinds of different things because they've always been at the forefront, you know, to break new ground, to set the rules and break the rules the way they saw fit from the beginning. They've done that.
Yeah. Well, and also remember what we are venturing into now, there are no rules. The only band that's ever done this before is ABBA.
Right.
Yes, other artists, solo artists, have done holograms. Definitely. I mean, Dio's done holograms. I shouldn't say a lot, but there's a handful of people that have done holograms.
Right.
Kind of one-offs where it was never meant to be the continuation forever.
Right.
ABBA did it. ABBA came out with the ABBA Voyage, which, you know, the first thing I would encourage anybody who's questioning what is this going to be about, go look up videos, articles, reviews of ABBA Voyage, and that'll give you an idea because literally the companies that created the ABBA Voyage experience are creating the KISS one. Pop House, who is the company that financed and produced the ABBA experience,
Yep.
is doing this with KISS. It's the second artist they've ever done this with. ABBA was one, KISS is two. And ILM, Industrial Light and Magic. And for those of you out there, they're a little graphics company that kind of does 3D graphics for a few movies here and there. I mean, come on, seriously, if you guys have if you have no clue who ILM is, you have no right to have an opinion about this. I mean, ILM is the premier company out there for creating graphics and anything visual. I mean, hello, Star Wars.
Yeah,
anything following Star Wars.
Yeah, George Lucas created that to do Star Wars, and everybody has tapped into that studio afterwards from the get-go because they recognized, you know, what they can do.
I mean, even there was a 30-minute video that KISS posted that I encourage people to go watch. It's on their YouTube channel. It's about 32 minutes long. It's Gene and Paul along with a couple guys from Pop House and somebody from ILM sitting in a round couch setting talking about this. But the impressive thing about that is where they are sitting is basically the studio where The Mandalorian is filmed.
Right. I watched that video, yeah.
and for those of you who don't know, The Mandalorian is basically filmed in like one studio where the entire walls are video. It's the video backdrop that it's incredible technology. Again, if you've got access to something like Disney Plus or something like that, there are some great videos on Disney Plus about the making of The Mandalorian. It's incredibly impressive. So I guess what I'm saying is, first of all, there's no two better companies in the world to take up the mantle for this KISS Avatar project than Pop House and ILM. But back to what I was saying, there's no rules here. Nobody's saying this is how you have to do it. This is what you can do. This is what you can't do. We have reached a point where rock and roll is bands are at this new threshold that nobody has ever considered a reality before.
Right.
I mean, let alone KISS, but every artist out there. I mean, you talk to any artist and they all will say, well, when we started the band, we thought, geez, if we'd be doing this for 5 years, we'd be lucky. Right. That's success. 5 years. All of a sudden, wow, we made it to 10 years. We made it to 20 years. We made it to 25 years. Now, select bands are actually reaching a point where the only reason they have to stop is because their bodies literally can't keep doing it.
Right.
They are of an age. You know, I I say this sort of jokingly, but it's 100% serious. I mean, somebody like Paul Stanley has literally rebuilt his entire body, joints, bones, everything over the years because he's destroyed it all
Right.
to be on stage for us. You know, Gene is what, 75 years old right now. Peter
Right.
Criss is older than that. Um, you can't keep doing what they're doing.
No, definitely
You
not.
just can't. Mentally, they would love to do it. As fans who are younger, we would love them to do it. But their bodies are just saying, time out, can't do this anymore. I cannot run around on stage with 30 pounds of costume on, 7-inch platforms
Yeah.
that, you want me to run in and jump
Yeah.
in
Walking in those
and
shoes is incredibly difficult.
yeah. So, I mean, we've reached a point where no band has ever had to consider, what do I do? I mentally want to keep doing this. My body says no. My fans want me to do this. I mean, Kiss just ended the end of the road tour. It will probably, when all the numbers are in, it will probably be their most successful tour ever, bigger than the reunion tour in '96. Um, but they can't keep touring.
No.
They've got to stop. And yet you've got a band that is almost ideal for what they are envisioning here. A character driven, costumed band that has alter egos is perfect for
Yeah,
all of
it
this.
almost seems like that's what they thought of at the beginning. It's almost like, was this preconceptual to from the beginning? And you talked a little bit about Peter Criss. I wanted to touch on that for a second. So many fans obviously wanted to see the entire Kiss family return for the grand finale, but I'm not even sure how they would have been able to incorporate that into the show. You know what I mean? Of course, it would have been great to see everyone, stop in for a song or something like that. But I don't know how that would have even materialized or been able to put together with something like this.
Yeah, I mean, my feeling has always been you either have every single living Kiss member on stage or you have none of them. You can't you can't sit here and go, well, we'll have Bruce, but we won't have Ace and Peter and Vinny, or we'll have Bruce and Ace, but no Peter, no Vinny, or we'll have Ace and Peter and Bruce, but no Vinny. You got to have everybody or nobody, first of all, is the way I view it. Second of all, I don't think they were ever going to consider changing the stage production for anything like that.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, do you have two people in the spaceman costume?
Right. Exactly. What would you
Or
do? Yeah.
I mean, Tommy's been in Kiss longer than Ace.
Yep.
So do you go to Tommy and go, well, thank you for your 20 plus years, but now, nope, you're not going to wear the makeup anymore. We're giving it to Ace. So Tommy, you can come on stage, but you're not going to wear makeup. Ace is going to wear. No, that's not right either.
Yeah. Yeah. They would have had
Um,
to choreograph a whole new show and change it all around totally.
yeah, I mean, as we talked about on the most recent episode of Three Sides of the Coin, could they have just done a video tribute on the big screen behind them while they were playing a song? Yeah, sure. I mean, Blackie Lawless did something like that on the last Wasp tour, where during I Want to Be Somebody, he had the video wall showing photos of every single member who was in Wasp. And then he had another screen of just a whole bunch of names, which were more of the business people behind the scenes, record label management people, that sort of booking agents, that sort of thing. Could Kiss have done that? Sure. Now, why they didn't, I don't know. I mean, it again, I'm just going to say I would have loved to have seen that, but that's the end of it. I'm not going to speculate to
Right.
why they didn't do it. Was it not important? We don't know. I mean, we were not in their heads on the stage for that last show.
Yep.
Maybe they just wanted to keep it very tight and very professional for that very last show. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. I got to view it on the pay-per-view, from what I saw. And I didn't get to see some of the very cool angles that I saw some of the video afterwards, where they had all the elements of the hologram type of pictures hanging and things like that during the finale, and everything really added a lot, because most people just saw the video of, the short video of them on stage as their avatars did the song. But the rest of the Madison Square Garden just lit up with these big
Yeah,
signs.
I mean
That was amazing.
they put basically smoke fog into the venue, and they project. I mean, it's what you do with holograms, and then they would project the avatars into this, and they were floating over the audience apparently. And again, this is the challenge. Even if you saw a video of that, it's still just a two-dimensional video.
Right.
It's a flat video of a graphic, and that does not convey. So the my feeling to some extent is this isn't necessarily geared towards us old timer diehard fans, the 50-year-old plus Kiss fans that have been there since day one. I kind of like, sorry guys, we've been retired. This is not for us. If you get it, great. If you don't get it, no skin off our back. Basically, it's not for you. This is for a new generation of fans. So the band can live on forever. I mean, not to be gruesome here, but us 50-year-old fans, we're going to be dead in 20 years, 25 years.
Right.
They can't continue with us being the primary fan base.
Right. Exactly.
We got them here, but it's sort of like a relay race. Now we're passing the baton to a new generation of fans. And the fact that most of the comments that don't understand what this is about come from 50-year-old plus fans just proves that. They're like, well, this is just a cartoon. This is just a video game. No, it's not.
No, it's
I
not.
mean, that comment itself shows you don't even understand what an avatar is, what a virtual world
Yeah,
is, what a hologram
this
is.
is a
This is,
far, far step from the Kiss Psycho Circus, the Nightmare Child game. This is
oh,
not that. This is
it's
not
it's
that.
it's completely different. Now, because of my business and because I've got a 10-year-old daughter, I do have some experience in avatars and virtual worlds. Um, and it's funny when after the last show happened, a couple days later, my daughter, again, 10 years old, was like, Daddy, I was seeing a lot of stuff online, something about a lot of news about Kiss. What's happening? And I said, well, they played their last show and they're no longer going to be doing live concerts or touring anymore, but they're going to become avatars and move into a virtual world. And she's like, really? That's cool. I want to see that because my daughter lives in Roblox,
Right.
which is it's not three-dimensional, but it's avatars. It's a
Right.
virtual world. She's been in that virtual world for years now. She completely understands
Yeah.
what that is, what it means, what you can do with it. And that's not even three-dimensional. That's just, again, on a computer screen, a two-dimensional graphic. But the Kiss avatars could become part of Roblox. They could become part of Minecraft. They could be a standalone show like the ABBA Voyage. Um, the the possibilities are literally limitless because now we are talking about a computer technology. Look at how we've progressed from the original Jurassic Park movie onward on how computer graphics have completely changed what we believe is real and
Yeah,
not
you
real.
can almost not tell if it's something's computer generated at this point at all. You can
Yeah.
almost not tell that.
Yeah, it's so what they are branching into is honestly only limited by the imagination of the people producing it and programming it.
Exactly.
And again, I have no insight. I'm just guessing, but things that could be possible. Imagine as an old time Kiss fan that's like, oh, hey, the next off the soundboard, and I don't know this, but the next off the soundboard recording is going to be a Dynasty concert. We've got a soundboard recording of a Dynasty concert from 1979. What if the way they promote and introduce that is not just a music video, not just releasing a track on Spotify, but they go into the avatars and reskin these avatars in Dynasty costumes. Because
Right.
keep in mind, when they created the avatars, they did 3D modeling. They put those balls all over. We've seen photos of that.
Right.
Scan them in.
Yeah.
They now have the body, the facial structures of Gene, Paul, Tommy, and Eric. They're in a computer system. You want to change them to wear a different outfit, different makeup? Well, that's just basically pushing a button on a computer,
Yep. Put a
and
different skin on them. Yep.
all of a sudden the crazy costumes that they were wearing in the video that introduced the avatars have been now replaced by authentic Dynasty costumes. And on top of that, they can create a full representation of the Dynasty stage, the lights, the pyro, everything. They can build the arena, all of it in computer.
Yep. Yeah. It's
And
definitely
then
limitless.
the audio underneath that becomes that off the soundboard recording. So now, not only do you have that music to listen to through iTunes and MP3s, and you could go buy the CD, but you can watch a brand new concert representation of this show from 1979. I mean, it's only limited by imagination. They could totally not recreate because it never happened. They could totally create the Elder concert. They could reskin those avatars in the Elder costumes. They could build the Elder stage as it was being drawn up by stage designers. It never happened, but they could totally recreate that three-dimensionally in computers. And now all of a sudden you got the opportunity to watch an Elder concert live. It's there's so much potential here that again, I am not going to pass any judgment on what's good or bad based on, a 2-minute, two-dimensional video on YouTube. That is just absolutely, in my opinion, foolish to do that. Avatars in general, virtual worlds in general, are the future of our world. I mean, it's just going there, not just
Yep.
bands. I mean,
Yeah. It's the
how
future
many
of entertainment. Yeah.
how many tens of billions of dollars has Mark Zuckerberg spent to build the metaverse?
Right.
And, Oculus VR goggles, and Apple's got the Vision Pro goggles coming. That's the future. That is where we are going. Now, you can choose to hate it because it's a different thing than you're used to. It's a change, but that doesn't stop it from happening. And I think Kiss is only, like I said, they're only the second band to ever do this. They're the first US band ever to do this. They're not going to be the last.
No.
There's going to be more and more artists
Yeah. And that's
that
what I
go
was going to
down
say. You
this
think
route.
this now sets the precedent for veteran rock bands to achieve something like this? Do you think that's where the bar is now?
I think it's setting the precedence of what could be done. Now, again, you've got to sit back and you go, okay, and I'm not going to pick on somebody like REO Speedwagon, but does REO Speedwagon have the same potential as Kiss? They're not characters. They don't have a visual identity. They don't have backstories. They're actually just musicians in a band. Now, sure, which is nothing more than what ABBA is. And sure, there would be a number of fans who would love to go to an avatar performance of something like REO Speedwagon, but can they make this as big as what Kiss can do? Kiss has got 50 years, multiple visual costumes, multiple members, how many different albums, different tours. Um, it's kind of the possibilities endless when it comes to Kiss. A lot of other bands, you're talking about, okay, well, it's just a concert. We'll recreate a concert, but there's only so much you can do.
Yeah, yeah,
But yes, will this be the future for entertainment? Most definitely.
yeah,
Of course it is. And the more bands do this, the better the technology is going to get, the more creative the people are going to get who are producing it, the more ideas you're going to get. Oh, did you see what Kiss did? Well, maybe we do it a little differently and we do this. So the possibilities here are just mind blowing.
yeah. I think the amazing thing that the Kiss also has done is they've kind of created a mythology through so many different things, right? Through their comic books, even through some of the cartoon episodes they've done on different shows, and they have this like special spiritual mythology they've created
Yep.
behind all this. And so it's like a mysticism, like you were saying. It's not just a bunch of guys in a band playing music. There's all these other different things that are possibilities kind of going on in their realm.
They can do all of that. They could create a realistic Kiss performance from 1979 while at the same time creating the mystical superhero characters which only lived in comic books and imaginations of the Kiss members, but now they can come to life. So, you know, all of this can happen. This isn't just, you know, that one visual, the image you've got over your left shoulder. Um, that's not it. That's not the beginning and the end of this. That's just what they created to get started with this.
Right.
And I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty excited. I mean, I love technology. Absolutely love technology. And I love what this could do. I mean, am I going to like everything? Probably not, but I didn't like everything Kiss did as a band anyway. I loved a lot of it. I didn't like everything. So am I going to like everything they do with their avatars? Probably not. But there's going to be something where I'm going to go, that is just damn cool.
Yeah.
Wow, I get to, I don't know. They could recreate a show from the Coventry. They could totally recreate that in three dimensionals with avatars and everything else, and pull up an audio recording of that show and put that
Yeah.
underneath it.
What I
I
was
mean,
thinking, what could they do with the Kiss cruises, right? Those are supposed to be such a cool thing to be a part of, you know. I was like, wonder if they're thinking about, I'm sure they're thinking about multiple ideas. They probably got 5 or 6 ideas. They're gonna dwindle it down to maybe a couple and shoot those out and kind of see what happens. I'm sure we're gonna see some type of program, show, cartoon, something along those lines to get to the
yeah,
younger folks, you know, something
uh,
like
y-
that.
it still is all dependent upon technology. You know, the ABBA experience had a specially built venue just for that because it takes different technology to create these three-dimensional figures, hologram figures on stage. It's not like something that you just take on tour and load it into a semi truck and then load it into every arena out there. It's a challenge. Now, that challenge is going to become less and less of a challenge as every year goes by, as technology becomes better, smaller, more efficient. But sure, this might start out as, well, you can only see the live performance in person at the venue that the ABBA voyage is at. But then they may sit here and go, well, we're going to build a second venue in Las Vegas. So now you can go to Las Vegas and see something. You could go to London and you could see something. Um, you know, I'm sure the people at Pop House are just, they probably got a laundry list of possible ideas.
I'm
Is
sure.
it, you know, can we do this right now? No, there's still a few limitations. All right, put that at the bottom of the list, but we anticipate in 3 years that will totally be possible. Um, yeah, this is something nobody has been able to basically experience before. So for I think it's just foolish for fans to just immediately write it off. It's just like, why? Because it's different. I mean, if you wanted the band to go away and retire and never perform again, well, you got that. You don't have to partake in any of this virtual world avatar stuff. But they can't perform in person. That's done. They can't tour anymore. I mean, I saw somebody's like, oh, they'll be back in 5, 10 years for another tour. I'm like, in 5 years, Gene is going to be 80 years old.
Yeah, he'll be lucky if he
80.
can stand, let
10,
alone put
10,
on
10,
that stuff.
10, 10 years, he's going to be 85 years old. Do you really think there is an 80 to 85-year-old person? And don't nobody sit here and go, Mick Jagger. Sorry, I mean, he's basically the only one that old out there doing it. And he's not putting on the type of show Kiss does. So yeah, it's impossible. There will be no more shows. They can't. That's done. That's over. So if that's what you wanted, they've retired. They're done. You saw the last show at Madison Square Garden on December 2nd. That was it. But if you want to potentially see them try some different things that don't physically tax their bodies, well, sit back because these avatars could totally blow our minds.
Yeah, yeah, I'm very excited about what the future can bring for it and what else is going to come next. You know, I noticed on the site, if you go to the Kiss online site, they have the Kiss Digital Pass. You can register for that. You get to see a little bit of the videos of the making of the avatars. But I'm also wondering if that'll maybe give you a preview of maybe some of the stuff they have coming up too, because it adds right to your digital wallet.
Yep. Yep.
So
You know, I think that digital pass is nothing more than your quote membership card to get into things. You know, oh, you want to go to the website when whenever it finally launches and start checking out stuff. Well, you've got to have your digital wallet card that you scan that gets you in. We know who you are. Um, you know, this is a whole new concept for a band. Again, never done before. There's no rules. They can't, you know, Kiss couldn't sit back and go, well, let's learn from these 20 other bands who did it before us of what worked better. This is truly, well, let's look at what ABBA did, and that's it. That's it. Then
right.
we can just do what we think would be cool.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you're a industry consultant. Have you had any bands approach you at all, even for the AI thing? Because that's a huge thing, right? Just to create an AI image or anything like that. Have you had talks with any musicians about any of that?
Not really, because it's it's not a cheap endeavor. It's very expensive. I mean, I can only imagine what the budget has been for the Kiss avatars for what we've seen so far. I mean, I, I, I have no real knowledge. I can only imagine it's been millions and millions and millions of dollars to do all of this that we've seen so far. And it's only going to get more expensive. So it's also one of these things where if a company like Pop House is going to do this, they're not going to do it with a band that doesn't have the potential to earn in excess of those millions of dollars that have been budgeted to create this. There's a very, very few bands. You've got to be ABBA, you've got to be Kiss, you got to be the Beatles, you got to be the Rolling Stones.
Right.
I don't know, maybe a U2. You've got to be of such that size, meaning of international status, that there is the potential to return money on that huge investment. Most bands, where technology stands today, I just don't see it being financially feasible to do it yet.
Right.
But again, you know, let's talk 5 years from now and it could be completely different. I mean, you know, remember when 3D printers first showed up? They were mind blowing what 3D printers could do.
Yep.
And they cost tens of thousands of dollars to get one. I mean, now you can buy a 3D printer for a few $100s.
Right.
And you can print anything you imagine. I mean, we can all have a 3D printer in our house, just like we've got a paper printer. And that technology moved very quickly. This could move just as quickly. I mean, maybe we get to the point where it's like, oh, you want to create not the top of the line 3D model of yourself like ILM would do, but maybe 10 years from now, our iPhones can create 3D scans of us and create 3D visual models. I mean, you can already have it, record your voice and start creating AI statements from you using your voice. The next hurdle is video, visual. You know, it's foolish to think some company hasn't been researching that and developing that now for years. And they are literally just waiting for the costs to come down so consumers can afford it and the technology to become small enough that you don't need, an office complex to create it. You can create it in your office at home with an iPhone, with a laptop computer.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, I'm really looking forward to see what comes next. So yeah, if your fans out there want to stay tuned, we'll see what's happening with next Kiss with the new era. Mike, thank you again for joining us today. If you folks have questions, how best can they reach you, Mike?
They can find me at michaelbrandvold.com. That's BRANDVOLD. That's my business website, and that's got links to all of my social media, contact form if you want to email me. I'm always happy to chat with people.
Yep, and you got your Music Biz Weekly podcast and your Three Sides of the Coin podcast that come out
Yep.
pretty much every week.
Every week, just about. Yep. Both of them are well over 500 episodes.
Very cool. You folks out there can check that out. And thank you to our sponsors, School of Rock North Buffalo, and to all our listeners. The new Kiss era has begun. Michael, again, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much, Robert. This was great.